All right, guys, we're back here on this Bosch today. We got the new control board, got a new surge protector. Even though this one I think is okay, we're still going to change it because I really don't know what happened to this board, and Bosch couldn't give me an answer either. So putting a new surge protector on it anyway. So let's get going. All right, just to review, this is what happened. Went through everything with Bosch on the phone, and they just said it was a bad board, so we're gonna change her out. All right, taking out all of our mounting screws now. There's a couple other screws you got to take out that actually hold the board to the heat sink in the back. I'll show you that once I get all these screws out. Yeah, so it's 8 screws going around the perimeter of the board, and then there's 3 screws here. So there's going to be one here, and one down here. So you got to take all 3 of those out also. If you look on the board here, you can see it's got a little picture of a screw. 1, 2, 3. And it does have an instruction pamphlet in with the new board. It's just I've done enough of these where I know how to do them. So we'll get these 3 screws out. All right, I got all 3 of these. They're loose, they're not connected. They are still in there though, because the heat sink putty's holding them in. So here's what's going to be confusing to you. You're going to get all these screws out and it's not going to budge. And you're going to be like, what the heck? You're going to say, well, it's got to be these screws here. What the heck is holding it in there? It's the heat sink paste that's holding it in. So I made that mistake the first time I did one. I'm like, there's got to be another screw holding this thing in, but it's not. That heat sink just really has a really good bond on it. So if you take and just pry off, it will eventually pop off. This one's going to be pretty stubborn, which is crazy because I just replaced it not long ago, but it will come off here. And you can see I'm going to start rocking it back and forth, kind of just moving it on that paste there. Yeah, see, that paste is not wanting to give up on this one. All right, we're going to try to get her off here. I can see it connected back there. She just doesn't want to budge. I might have to get a screwdriver in there to pry that heat sink off. All right, I got it off there. Now we're just gonna lift it up and out. Yeah, see? It's pretty tough. But yeah, that heat sink really grabs on and it holds it. All right, here's our board. We're gonna go ahead and pull that out and get her prepped to put on. All right, so we have new plastic spacers here. We're gonna put these on first. Now that we have all of our plastic spacers in place, we're gonna flip the board over and we're gonna reapply that heat paste. That's such a bum to get off. It needs it though, even though it's got a lot of it on there already. We're gonna leave that on there. We could probably clean it off if we wanted to, but we're gonna leave it there. We're just gonna apply some new, which is right here. All right, we've pretty much got it all over here. They give you 2 tubes, but 1 is usually enough. So, all right, next thing we're gonna do is actually set this board back in place and get a couple screws started. All right, we got our board set in place. We got a couple screws started. Basically the corners. So my next thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to go ahead and put my middle screws in that screw the board to the heat sink. It's actually 4 of them. I counted 3 earlier, but it's actually 4. There's a 4th one down here. So we're going to go ahead and put those screws in next, and that putty is going to smash from the board to the heat sink and put that good seal on there that's really hard to get off. All right, we got those 4 locked down good and tight. All right, Now we're going to put the rest of our perimeter screws in. All right, now that all the screws are in, it's just a matter of landing all your wires back. So most of these wires only go one spot, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to hook up my grounds first, make sure everything's good and grounded before we go any further. We got a ground there, and we got a ground here. All right, and we'll hook up our compressor wires too. So we got W, V, and U all in order. So we got W, V, and U. All right, and we have our condenser fan up top here. And yeah, so we're gonna go down and we're gonna connect all of our little pluggy plugs here. And go from there. We got all our little plugs landed. We're just gonna make sure we take a second look to make sure nothing's hanging out, because there is a good amount of plugs here, and you wanna make sure you don't forget any, because you know, you do end up with some empty ones. So you wanna make sure all the ones that are supposed to have a plug do have a plug. And it's also good to make sure you go back and push these wires in to make sure none came out. Usually you can take a meter lead or a little thin screwdriver, or just with your hand, just make sure you push all those in good, because sometimes they do come out and make a poor connection. All right, also what we want to do, we want to look at our old board here at these dip switches. Looks like all my dip switches are off at this moment, so we want all these off also. Those select your tonnage, and they do some other stuff too, but we're just going to set those exactly how the old one was. So, all right, next we're going to make sure we kill power to the disconnect so we can change that surge protector out. Yeah, we just killed the breaker. Our green light is not illuminated anymore, but we will double check with a meter. So let's get this disconnect opened up and get that old surge protector out of there. And you can see how our surge protector wires, we have both of our hot wires are going to the line side of our disconnect, and then we have one going to ground. So that's exactly how we're going to hook it back up. All right, there is our old surge protector. Here is our new one, exact replacement. I got a comment from one of you guys when I originally installed this, or when I originally diagnosed this bad board, saying that Bosch did not approve of that surge protector. It wasn't one of their approved ones. Now I asked Bosch that. I gave him the model number, and the guy I talked to said he hadn't heard that. He said that surge protector is fine for our application. So I'm not sure where that information, where that viewer got that information from, but according to Bosch, this surge protector is fine for our application. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and put it in and wire it up. It's always good to run through the installation instructions on anything really, but we just want to breeze through these real quick and just make sure we're not doing anything that it says not to, and we're doing everything we're supposed to. We'll breeze through this and just make sure we're okay. One thing to note here, when we look at this, it says ensure conductor lengths are as short and straight as possible for best performance. Do not coil excess wire. The SPD functions best if all bends and wires are rounded, ideally to a 4-degree or a 4-inch radius. Hard 90-degree bend will reduce efficiency. Cut all leads to the correct length. Do not coil excess leads. So, no, that gives us way too much here, and the easy thing to do would just be to coil it up in here and stab it in there, but that's not what we're going to do. We're going to cut it to length as short as possible. All right, there's our surge protection device installed. No hard 90s on the wire, short as possible, and landed properly. So we're going to go ahead and put this cover back on and we'll restore power. We just went ahead and gave the thermostat a call for cooling. So next we're going to cross our fingers and hope nothing blows up when we turn this on. Here we go. So far, so good. All right, our compressor just started. go to this check key, this check button here. We can hit that, and that's going to start at 0, H2, and we can keep on hitting check until we get up to a certain value. Now I'm looking for 19, which is going to be my compressor current. So 19.6. So I guess my compressor is pulling 6 amps, which is not bad. You could go through all these parameters, really, really whatever you want to know. Starting from the outdoor coil temp, the ambient temp, your pressures, it'll tell you everything. You don't even got to hook up gauges. So just go ahead and you can check it all. I'm not going to go through it all right now, but if you wanted to, you could check everything. Because the system's only really been running for a couple minutes, but this suction line's pretty cold, so I don't think we have a charge issue here at all. So, all right, we're going to monitor it for a few minutes and make sure we're good to go. All right, guys, there we have it. Let's hope this one holds up.